Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Dulcimerica. My name is Bing Futch. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to share with you a tune that I've been working on for the past few months, and it is a charming piece of music that is loved the world over. It's called Ashokan Farewell, and it was featured in the Ken Burns miniseries The Civil Wars. It's a lovely, lovely piece of music written by Jay Unger, and it's got a whole wonderful story behind it. Played as the final tune at a fiddler's gathering, and now people just love this tune, and they play it not just as a farewell tune, but as a tune just whenever someone wants to hear something soft and sweet and beautiful. I'll share with you some of my insights here about playing it, but before I do that, I want to say hello to one of my patrons on Patreon, Dan Mollison. Dan, thank you very much for pledging in recently, and I hope you are having a blast discovering everything that you can find on my Patreon page. There's so much stuff there, and I really appreciate you jumping in where you did, because you're helping every single day to fortify the studio, keep the data flowing, and help upgrade equipment and replace gear as it goes south. It's a very important thing that you and these patrons do every single day, and I am very, very deeply appreciative of it. Now, if you're out there wondering what Patreon is, it's basically a subscription service like Netflix or Hulu, and you get all of my self-published works, books, CDs, tablature, and video for just $5 per month. The more you pledge, the better the rewards get after that. And you can check it all out at patreon.com/BingFutch. Go to the featured tag section, click on the open house tag, and you will see all of the stuff that's yours to download for free. If you like what you see in here, please do consider becoming a patron like Dan. Dan, thank you very much. All right, so let's take a look at Ashokan Farewell. I played this recently at the Patreon 3000 Club 4-hour concert. It's not something I perform yet because I'm still smoothing things out with it, but I've been teaching the tune for a few months now, and I want to show you some of the things I've discovered that'll help you get through the piece. So let's start from the very beginning here with our melody coming in here from the 4th fret to the 6.5 fret to the 7th fret. And right there is when we're going to lay in the F sharp on the middle string, leave the bass string open, and there's our D major chord. Throughout all of this, the trick is to hold down each one of these notes as long as possible and try not to take your finger off of strings that are sustaining. One of the things that mountain dulcimer players battle more than anything is choppiness. And choppiness develops when a note cuts off suddenly. What we want these notes to do is overlap, and that overlap will give you the opportunity to move your finger to a new string. As long as at least one note is sounding, you should be all right. There are times here where you're going to have to switch your fingers, so it helps to be thoughtful during the process. And so I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So we walk up like this. So we go from the 4th fret, 6.5. I'm on one string here. We get into our D. I'm going to hold on to that F sharp as long as I can as I walk down the melody string. Notice how I use my ring finger, because my thumb could go all the way down there if I wanted it to, but it'd be really uncomfortable. So I'm going to continue the path down the melody string. The ring finger takes over at the 5th and 4th fret. Okay, so I'll do that again in one fell swoop here. And then I put my index finger down at the 6th fret, leaving that F sharp on the middle string at the 5th fret, right where it is. Ring finger comes down to the 4th fret. I'm going to lift up that F sharp finally on the middle string and then come back to it. And then right here, there's going to be some finger switcheroo. At least this is how I'm doing it right now. Index finger on the bass string at the 5th fret, index finger at the 6th fret on the middle string. All together here. Now I'm going to walk down the middle string with my index finger. And then come down here. Now what I also suggest, and I haven't quite implemented yet, is to use a different finger. So when you come down here, you can drop the index finger on the bass string. And then when you do the finger switcheroo, like this, ride down with your index finger. That way you don't have to take your index finger off of the middle string, and you can just drop that middle finger in there, down there. Hit your melody string and open. So we want to go to the 7th fret for there, coming from here. So let me take you back again to this point. To 7, to 9, then come in here, middle finger on the 7th fret, bass string, index finger on the middle string at the 8th fret, thumb is right there at the 9 on the melody string, come up to 10 on the melody, back down to 9, down to 8, and then when you get down to 8, you'll change this to an A major chord. We're going to pluck that middle string. Your index finger's already down on it. The ring finger comes around to the 6.5 fret, and that's your next note. And then we'll get down into our 0, 5, 7 D major. So from that point, from the beginning to that point, we do that all over again. Now we're going to do the same thing we did before. 6.5, middle finger on the bass, index finger on the 7th fret, middle string. Hit those first. Ring finger comes in at 6.5 melody. Thumb takes over 8 melody, and then down into our 0, 5, 7. From the second time around, now the hand gets a little bit of a break, and we go 2, 3, 4, 2, open, 7. Now, this is important right here. Next note's going to be 4 on the melody string, A. I'm using my ring finger there. Why? Because the next thing for us to do is to move that melody string to the 5th fret, B, and then piece in a G major chord. So if you used a finger or a thumb that you would normally use, you'd have to switch out when you got up to the G major and take your fingers off the strings. Again, we're trying to minimize the amount of times we have to switch strings because that's going to stop the sustain of that note. So by coming in ever so briefly with the ring finger, we can just slide it up here and then lay in the other 2 pieces of the puzzle without sacrificing any of that golden, delicious sustain that we've got going. So here we go from that walk up. Ring finger down, and then thumb takes over 6.5, up to 7. Right? Coming down to 4, down to 2. O, okay, so we're going down to 1 on the melody string, then come back up to 2, use your thumb, and then carry the middle finger from the 1st fret melody over to the middle string at the 1st fret. We have an inverted B minor chord there. Ring finger comes in at 1, then let's go. Then bring in your G major, 3-1-0. Now these are melody notes from middle string, 1st fret, to the G on the bass string. So make sure you hit those separately when you come down. So once you strum the 3-1-0, hit the bass string again. That's a melody note for you. Then come back and hit that melody string open, and then bring the index finger down to a 1, and also hit the melody string. Avoid the middle, hit the middle string. Avoid the melody string, because then you're going to go like this. Thumb will come in and get 2nd fret middle string. Ring finger will come and get 1, and then you can get up here and lay in your entire A major. I do that differently when I go slow because I'm thinking about it. So let me play that whole section before we move up into the final portion of the tune, and watch my hands as I go through that part there. So that whole configuration, what I'm doing there is I'm laying the bass down, index finger comes in at the 2nd, ring finger hits that melody at the 1st, and thumb comes up to lay in the final piece of the A major. And then you come down from 2, 2-1, open, 2-1, open, 2, 4, then get into a C major chord, 3, 4, 6. Thumb will come up with the melody note at 7 on the melody. Thumb will catch 6.5, 7. Then 4, 2. So we're going to take it from this C, A major chord. Open, 2, 4, C major, the 7, come down to G major, 6.5, 7, 4, 2, open, and then open middle, open melody, 2, 4, 7, 9, 6.5, 7, 8. Thumb gets 7, ring finger will get the 6.5, and then into your final D major chord. From the top here, nice and slow. So that is all the way through the piece right there. Now let me show you a couple of other things that I'm doing to fill things out. This is a very, very quiet and mellow piece. So I don't want to add a whole bunch of rhythm stuff in there. But what I'm doing is a little bit of fill-in arpeggios when the melody is riding itself out. So I'm going back and forth on the bass and the middle string, providing a counterpoint to what's happening on the melody string. So I've been tamping that down while I teach the tune. Now I'm going to bring it back to the fore so you can hear how I'm using it. Watch again as I go slowly through, and watch how I'm going back and forth, especially between the bass string and the melody, to provide counterpoint arrangement for a very starkly layered piece. And that right there is Ashokan Farewell. So I look forward to seeing a lot more people playing it in the jams. I know for a long time when I heard it, I didn't have all the notes, didn't have all the chords, and so I kind of puttered around with it as other people played it. But now that I can actually play through it, it's so much more fun to sit there when somebody calls that out in the jam, and hopefully now you will be able to as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'll be back next week with more fun on the mountain dulcimer. Until then, we will see you.